take a moment to find your way down onto your back, lowering yourself into your Shavasana. Send your feet out wide to the bottom corners of your mat. Releasing through the ankles, let the toes fall heavy to the sides. Long spine, gentle tuck in the chin that lengthens all the way up through the back of your neck. The shoulders tucked beneath you allows a sense of openness through the collarbones, the chest, and the front of your throat. And create some distance between your arms and your body and allow the hands, the palms to face up. Releasing the tops of the hands into the ground beneath you. Surrendering to gravity, really grounding you here in this space. Become aware of the room around you. Letting go of anything outside of these four walls and the space you've chosen for your practice. Noticing any sounds, the space, the smell of the room, maybe if you have a candle, a pet. Whatever the smell is that you notice in the space, it is unique to you and you alone. You choose to close the eyes, or maybe you keep them open. Either way, allow the gaze to become soft. And start directing the breath in and out through just the nose. And as you focus on the breath moving in and out through the nose, the space around you starts to fade off into the background. The smell begins to vanish. The sounds more distant, becoming an echo in the background, until all that remains is the sound of your own breath, moving in and out through just your nose. Take a long breath in through the nose, and a soft breath out through the nose. Big breath in, belly rises up towards the ceiling. And with a slow breath out, the belly softens and falls. Continuing with your own slow rhythm of breath. Each breath in, creating space in your body, belly rising up to the ceiling. And each breath out, body melting into your mat, releasing any tension, distractions, any thoughts from your day or your week that are no longer serving you. Letting each of them go on the exhale. If your mind has started to drift away, you can invite it back into this space and onto your mat, into your body and your breath. Start to slowly wake the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Taking rotations to the wrist and the ankles, getting out any creaks or cracks that have maybe built up in your day. Slide the feet together at the bottom of your mat. With the legs extended long, draw the toes towards you, reaching through the heels, really flexing through the feet as if you're trying to touch your toes to your shins. Then we're going to point through the ankles, reach through the big toes as if you're trying to touch the sole of your feet to the floor. And draw the toes towards you, reaching through the heels. Point the toes away, pressing the soles of the feet down towards the mat, keeping the legs straight. Just a couple more in each direction. The next time the ankles are flexed with the toes drawn towards your face, land there. Keep the left leg just as it is. Bend through the right, bringing the sole of the right foot to the floor. From there, we're going to open up the right knee to the right side of the room. Bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh, creating the figure 4 shape with your legs. So it's as if the legs are in the number 4 for a reclined tree pose. Press down through the outer edge of the right leg. The sole of the right foot in contact with the left leg. So that can be on the thigh, it can be at your knee, or down by your ankle, whatever feels best. As the right thigh presses down into the mat, as does the left hip. Creating a sense of openness through the pelvis here. Choose whatever arm variation feels good to you. So maybe the arms are at your sides. Maybe they're up overhead or in cactus formation. You can do one hand on your belly or one hand on your heart. The shoulders are square with the hips here, both equally weighted from left to right side. Take one more big breath here, and bring the sole of the right foot onto the floor. The left leg stays extended long as you draw the right knee in towards your chest. Wind relieving pose, reach the right hip crease away from the shoulders and down into the mat. Extend from left heel to the top of the head as you draw the right knee in a little bit closer towards your chest. And take a few gentle rotations through the right leg. In both directions. Pausing in the center. Take hold of the right leg with the left hand. Release the right arm at your side. Lengthen first and then find your twists on the right leg over to the left side of the room. Lifting the right hip off of the floor but keeping the right shoulder rooted. Gaze is at the ceiling or over to the right. Breathing space into the lower right belly here. You can always support the right knee with a prop, so a pillow or a block. Slowly come back through center, first with the gaze, then with the knee. Right knee draws in towards the chest one more time. And lower the sole of the right foot to the floor. Reach the left foot up to the ceiling. So right knee is bent, left leg extended. Pelvis firmly rooted as you turn the left toes towards the left side of the room. Bring the outer edge of the left foot onto the right thigh. A nice flex through the left ankle. Draw the toes towards your left shin. Pressing the pinky toe edge of the foot into the right thigh and the right thigh into the left foot. Reaching the left knee away from your shoulders. If you're feeling a nice stretch here into the hip or into the glute, you can stay as you are. Or you can reach between the thighs, take hold of the back of the right thigh or the right shin. Drawing the right knee in towards your right shoulder as the left knee reaches away from the shoulders. Notice if your tailbone and pelvis have lifted. Really drive it down into the mat. Lengthen through the spine. Without lifting the tailbone, bring the knee in a little bit closer towards the right shoulder. You want equal weight in both left and right hips. So just take a moment to find your neutral here. And we're going to shift a little bit of weight into the right hip. Keep the left knee reaching away. And then shift a little bit of weight into the left hip. And shift it to the right. And then to the left. Just noticing where you feel the stretch start to intensify. Do one more gentle rock from side to side and pause in that area of sensation, right where you're feeling the stretch. One more big breath here. Slowly lower the right foot to the floor. Release the arms at your sides. Left foot finds the floor. Extend the legs long to the bottom of the mat. Find a mini shavasana here. And taking a moment to find some stillness. Just scanning the body, from the tip of your toes to the top of the head. Noticing any subtle changes from one side to the other. Gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. And slide the feet together at the bottom of the mat. Draw both sets of toes towards your face. Heels are on the mat. Bend the left knee. Bring the sole of the left foot onto the floor. From here, coming into our reclined tree pose. Pinky toe edge of the left foot finds the floor. Start to open up the left leg to the left side of the room. Sole of the left foot lands on the inside of the right thigh at whatever height works for you, allowing the left knee to rest on the floor or near it. And square the hips up with the shoulders. And tuck the shoulder blades beneath you as you choose the arm variation that works best for you. Pressing down equally through the left knee and the right hip. Draw the left knee through center. Bring it in towards your chest as you interlace your fingers around the left knee, wind relieving pose. Work on finding length first, and then work towards finding the depth of the left knee. Take some gentle rotations through the left knee. Smooth circles. Avoid swaying side to side. Try to really isolate the movement to the left hip. Rotating in the opposite direction. Just bring some movement to the hips here. Lubricating joints. Pause in the center. Take the left knee and just the right hand. Release the left arm at your side. It could be wide out beside you or up like a cactus. Lengthen from right heel to the top of your head. And with a slow exhale, send the left knee across your body and over to the right, into your twist. Left shoulder is rooted. The gaze is to the ceiling or over to the left. Creating space in the lower left belly with every breath. Maintaining length, and then maybe you're able to deepen just a little further into your twist. Never being forceful here. Supporting your pose however you need with props you have around you. Gaze comes back through center. Let the left knee find center as well. Hug it in one more time. And then release the sole of the left foot onto the floor. Press down through the left foot. Belly button draws in towards the spine as you reach the right heel up towards the ceiling. Turn the right toes to face the right side of the room and bend through the right knee. Let the pinky toe edge of the right foot land on the left thigh. Reach the right knee away from your shoulders. Again, just taking a moment to set this up first. Square your shoulders up with the hips. Tucking the shoulder blades beneath you. Staying here if you're feeling a stretch into the right hip glute area. Or start to draw the left knee in towards your shoulders. Reach the right hand through the space you've created in your legs, taking hold of the left shin or the left thigh. Now, if you notice here that the pelvis or the shoulders are lifting up off of the floor, it could be a sign that you're going too far. Either lower the left foot back onto the mat, onto a block, or a stack of books, or you can use a strap between your hands to add length to your arms, making the knee or the thigh rather to be a little more accessible. Continue reaching your tailbone away from the top of your head, reaching the right knee away from your right shoulder. From here, we're going to start to shift the weight from side to side. So start first by neutralizing through the pelvis. Equal weight from both the left and right sides. From there, we're going to shift some weight into just the left hip. So a little bit of weight to the left. And then a little bit of weight over to the right. Not really a sway from side to side so much as just shifting the weight from one hip to the other. So send your weight over to the left hip, send the left hip into the mat and away from the shoulders. Then over to the right hip into the mat and slightly away from the shoulders. A gentle shift of weight from side to side, barely even noticeable when watching your body. Take one more in each direction, just pausing at the point that you feel the most sensation. Draw the left knee in towards the left shoulder, the right knee away, and pause in breath. Lower the left foot to the floor. Release the right foot, let it join the left. Soles of the feet come to touch, knees fall wide apart like a book, creating a diamond shape with the legs. The closer the heels are to the pelvis, the more of a stretch you'll be feeling here, so if you'd like, you can slide them further away to ease off on the pressure. Another option is to place pillows or blocks beneath the thighs for some support, just to let it be more restorative. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And just find some stillness here. Allow the awareness of the breath, the sound of your breath, to wash away any thoughts that may be creeping in. Our minds are constantly in search of something to land on. So rather than the mind seeking out moments from your week, or things that may not be serving you, give your mind's eye something to focus on. Become aware of the inhales, and witness the exhales as they move in and out of your body. Occupying the mind, preventing it from jumping from one thought to the next. When you feel ready in your own time, bringing the soles of the feet onto the floor with or without the help of the hands. Let the right arm come up overhead as you roll over onto your right side body. We can use the right arm as a pillow. Let the left palm rest softly on the floor or on your body. And draw the knees in a little bit closer towards your chest, really rounding through the back. Creating space between each of the vertebrae. Opening up through the back body. When you feel ready in your own time, finding your way up to a tabletop position. And so with the shoulders above the wrists, and the hips above the knees, the gaze is neutral. We're going to move through a few cat and cow. So as you inhale, lift your tailbone to the ceiling, let your belly drop. Heart comes forward as the gaze comes up. On the exhale, tuck your tailbone, draw your belly button up towards the ceiling. Bring your chin to your chest as you gaze to your belly. Inhale, cow pose, tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart comes forward and up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, rounded spine reaches up towards the ceiling as you hollow the chest and gaze to the belly button. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more at your own pace. Really exaggerating the curvature of your spine. Linking each movement to a breath. And no rush at all, but when you get there, landing in a neutral spine. From there, we're going to just move through some fluid movement. So bring the right shoulder towards the right hip. Maybe gaze over to the right heel. Then the left shoulder to the left hip, gaze to the left. Continue with that sway to sway motion, but rather than focusing on the gaze, just let the head fall heavy. Releasing through the back neck, sending one shoulder to the hip, and then the other. The gravity on your head, releasing through the back of the neck. Pausing in the center in your tabletop. Keep the elbows straight here. Now, take a look at your elbows and see if they hyperextend or kind of bend in the wrong direction. So you want pretty much a straight line. If you notice kind of that bend in the opposite direction, it's very common to see if you have hypermobile joints. In those cases, you're better to have a little bit of a gentle bend in your elbow than to over straighten it, almost like reversing a hinge of a door. So just find some integrity in those elbows, even if it means a gentle bend in them to find strength through your arms. Press down to the palms of your hands, as well as all 4 fingers and the thumbs, keeping them spread wide for a strong base here. Without bending the elbows, press down through the palms, send your chest up towards the ceiling, rounding through the upper back. Again, without bending the elbows, sink the chest down towards the floor as if you're doing a push-up here. Keep those arms straight. Press down through the floor, lift the chest away from the floor. Lower the chest towards the mat. It's as if you're doing a push-up here without actually bending the elbows. Lift the chest towards the ceiling. Belly button draws in. Sink down lower. Doing a few more of these at your own pace. Seeing if you can time each movement to a breath. Maybe inhaling as you press down through the mat, lifting the chest. Exhaling as you lower back down. Find your neutral. Big toes come to touch, knees go wide apart. Send your hips back towards the heels for a child's pose, forehead to the mat or onto a block or pillow. Slide those fingertips away from your pelvis. Let this be an active child's pose, so press down through the fingertips, through the palms, lifting the elbows off of the mat with straight arms. As the fingertips are reaching away from you, draw the shoulder blades onto your back. The shoulders are reaching away from the ears towards your pelvis, but the palms are firmly rooted. Each breath in lengthens your spine. Each breath out sinks you a little bit deeper into your child's pose. You can always bring the pelvis, the bum up onto a pillow, a rolled towel, or a block. From here, walk the hands over to the top right corner of your mat. The pelvis stays sinking low, hips towards the heels, for a little bit of a side bend in your child's pose. Really sinking down through the left hip. Option to place the left hand on top of the right, creating a little more space up the left side body. Come back through center. And then over to the left with the hands. Right hip sinks back towards the right heel. The forehead rests onto the mat or onto a block. Option for the hands to stay side by side or place the right hand on top of the left. Really reaching that right hand over to the left side of the room and the right hip down towards the right heel. Back through center, pausing in your child's pose. And then finding your way up to tabletop. Release the head again, just a gentle sway from side to side, neutralizing the spine. And then we'll find a comfortable seated position. So your comfortable seated position may be cross-legged. Maybe you're sitting up onto your knees or onto a pillow. We want the shoulders stacked neatly above the hips. Stay open through the chest, shoulders down away from the ears. Sitting up tall. Take a few gentle rotations through the upper body. In both directions. Find your tall spine once again. And you can have the elbows bent here. However your arms are comfortable. What we're going to do is, if you look at your own hand, you'll have the different creases at each knuckle of the hand. The creases along your palm, where the fingers first start. Draw the tips of your fingers into that crease. So normally if we make a fist, the fingertips come into the base of our palm down by where the thumb starts. Instead, we want to bring the fingertips to that very first line along the fingers. So you're going to notice just a very tiny bend in the fingers. Draw the fingertips towards that first crease. And then slowly release. I'll scooch a little closer so you can maybe see better. So we're going to bend the knuckles, draw the fingertips in towards that first crease. And you can watch your hands if that's helpful. Slowly release them. Bending at the knuckles. Really squeeze those fingertips in. Slowly release. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Draw the knuckles in. Slowly release. Draw them in and squeeze. Release, spread the fingers wide. Draw the knuckles in. This time we're going to hold, so hold that squeezed position. See how tight you can pull the fingertips into that crease. Pausing here and noticing which fingers feel a little tighter. Which ones maybe are able to squeeze in while others aren't quite as bent. Keep squeezing. And release, spread the fingers wide. Giving the fingers a little bit of a wiggle. Spread the fingers wide, curl them into tight, tight fists, maybe this time wrapping the thumbs in as well. And release, give them a wiggle. So just working an area that we don't often consider. We use the hands a lot at work and we don't really do much work with them in terms of lubricating joints. And from here, we're going to reach the palms forward, fingertips spread wide. Arms are parallel with the floor. Press through this lower base of the palm where the palm meets the wrist. We're going to reach through there, draw the shoulders back into the joints. Press through the palms, send the arms wide open. Pausing with the arms at your sides parallel to the floor, as if you're in a door frame, pressing the palms into the door frame. Keep the fingers drawn back to your face. You may be feeling a lot of tightness here. Maybe some fingers are trying not to come back quite as far as others. Come back forward. Spread the hands wide, reaching through the palms. Come back through center. Palms spread wide. Come back through center. Palms spread wide. This time we're going to hold. So really reaching through the base of those palms, right where it meets the wrist. As if you're trying to touch this little area here at the bottom of your palm, the walls on either side of you. Release the hands, inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. This time we're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand to the right knee, right hand comes behind you. Twist and gaze over the right shoulder. Keep that tall spine. Maybe you use the right fingertips either on your low back or on the floor behind you to lengthen up through the spine. Once you've lengthened, then you can deepen the twist and gaze further over the right shoulder maybe. Keep the left hand just as it is. Start to bring the gaze and the chest forward. So the left hand is still on the right knee. Let the left hand stay stable there as you reach the right hand up towards the ceiling and over to the left. Finding a bit of a twist here, just being really gentle with the spine though. Never being forceful here. Send the right hip really firmly down into the mat. Opening your heart up to the room in front of you, but also a little bit towards the ceiling. Come back through center. Release, give the shoulders a bit of a roll. Extend the legs out long in front of you, especially if they've been crossed. Give them a wiggle. Just remembering which leg crossed in front of the other. Bend the right knee. Cross it over the left. And slide the left heel towards the right hip. So it's as if you're showing now the inner arch of the right foot to the ceiling. Left leg stays extended long. We're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Keep a straight back here. So you can release the hands to the left shin, the left ankle. We want a straight spine. So don't worry about touching your forehead to your leg. Instead, consider reaching the tailbone away from the crown of your head. Also reaching the tailbone away from the left heel. So we're finding length in both our left leg as well as our spine as we slowly fold forward. Feeling a stretch here into the back of the left hamstring, the left thigh. Slowly come back up. Release the right leg long. Give the legs a wiggle, maybe pointing and flexing through the toes, drawing circles with the ankles. And we're going to cross in the opposite direction. So if you don't remember which way you went, just cross your legs, and chances are that's your normal position. We want the opposite of that. We generally cross the same way every time, so we're just teaching our body to sit in different positions, evening out from side to side. From here, we'll take those gentle circles. In both directions. Pausing in the neutral. Tall spine. Same thing, we're going to reach out the hands in front of us first. First, make those little tight knuckles where you draw the fingertips in towards the palms. Then make tight fists with your hands. Squeezing the fist really tight. Thumbs are included, holding the fingers in place. Draw the knuckles down towards the floor. So it's as if now the palms are facing your chest. The knuckles face the floor. Open the arms up to the side. Arms are parallel with the floor. We're now reaching through the top of our wrist, as if that's the area we're trying to touch to the walls beside us. Tall spine, shoulders above hips, arms are parallel. Start to reach the arms behind you. Don't bend the elbows. Just going as far as you can without lowering the arms towards the floor or bending the arms. Come back through center. Reach them back slowly. Continue reaching through the top of the wrist, drawing the knuckles to the underarms. Come back through center. Reaching back, opening up through the chest here. Arms are parallel with the floor, not coming down towards it. Come back through the center. Once more behind us. This time we're going to hold. See if you can keep those arms from sinking down to gravity. Shoulders away from the ears. Just a few more breaths here. Come back through center. Release those fingertips. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up all the way. Exhale, right hand, left knee. Left hand comes behind you. Gazes over the left shoulder. Tall spine. Stay with your breath. Keep the right hand just as it is. We're going to bring the gaze back through center, chest as well. And with the right hand still in place on the left knee, left hip firmly rooted, start to reach the left fingertips up towards the ceiling and then over to the right. Opening your heart up slightly towards the sky. Just being really careful, really gentle here on the low back. Any pinching, pain, or discomfort, please come out. You can always release the right arm to your side and just find a straight side bend. And slowly release. Come back through center and give the shoulders a roll. And we're going to take once more those gentle rotations, just releasing through the low back here. Both directions. And extend the legs out long in front of you, give them a wiggle, pointing and flexing through the toes. Sitting up tall, you can bend through the left knee, place the left foot on the outside of the right thigh. Draw the left heel towards your right hip as you lower the left knee down towards the right knee. We're still sitting up nice and tall here. Right leg's extended long with the toes drawn towards you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward with a straight back. Releasing the hands to your knee, your ankle. Maybe you can take hold of your foot. Whatever you're holding on to, we're not gripping, we're not pulling ourselves down further. Just placing our hands there for support. Visualize sending your pelvis, your hips towards the back of your mat. Lengthen through the spine, tailbones reaching down into the mat, as if someone's reaching you from the top of the head, lengthening your spine. Lengthen first and then fold forward. Stay open through the chest. Avoid having that hollowing shape of the chest where the shoulders roll forward. The shoulders stay back and down away from the ears. The heart stays open. The right hip is reaching towards the back of the mat, but the right heel is so firmly rooted it's resisting that pull. Slowly release, come back up. Extend the left leg long to meet the right. Give the legs a wiggle. Pointing and flexing through the toes. In both directions if you're doing circles. We're going to bend through the knees and lower down onto our mat. Lying on your back here, start with the knees touching and walk the heels further away from one another. So the feet are wide, the knees are tipped in towards one another to touch, supporting each other. Always taking this opportunity to release the low back into the mat. Noticing any areas of tension that may have developed in the back. Inviting it to soften. Letting it feel supported and safe by the floor beneath you. Heel toe, the feet in towards one another. Make the capital L shape with your hand. We're going to place the thumbs, so we're doing it with both of our hands. Place the thumbs into the hip crease, so that little area where the pelvis meets the thigh. Slide your thumb in there, point the fingertips towards the heels. So the palms are facing the floor here. Walk your heels in a little bit closer maybe. Lengthen through the spine. And from here, with the thumbs in the hip crease, we're going to press through that area with the thumbs. So pressing into the hip crease, send the hip creases away from your shoulders. Lengthening out through the low back. Slowly release. Big inhale to lengthen. Pressing with the thumbs. Exhale, soften. Inhale, press and lengthen. And release. Just being mindful of any previous injury that this may not work for. Pressing through the thumbs. Any disc disease. Slowly release. One last time, big press here. And slowly release. Option to keep the knees side by side or cross the right leg over the left. We're going to lift the hips up, so press down through both or just the left foot, and shift the hips slightly over to the right. From here, let the knees go over to the left for a twist. Just releasing any tension in the low back. First we lengthened it, now we're going to twist. We're not staying long here in this twist, we're just loosening up the low back. Gaze comes back through center. The knees will follow. Uncross the knees. Thumbs return to the hip creases, palms face the floor. Only one time this time. We're going to inhale, lengthen, press the hip creases away, lengthen the low back. Exhale to soften. Option to keep the legs side by side. Cross the left over the right. Whether it's both feet on the floor or just the right, we're going to lift the hips up, shift them slightly to the left, and send the knees over to the right for a twist. Left shoulder stays rooted. Just creating some space in the low back. Come back through center. Release the legs. Take the feet nice and wide here. Gentle rock from side to side, letting that go. Find stillness in the center. With the knees nice and wide, draw them in towards the shoulders here. Keeping that space between the thighs allows your belly to rise up and fall with breath. Now you can stay right here with the tailbone, the pelvis rooted into the mat, breathing space into your belly. Or you can bring the arms to the inside of your thighs. Reach over the shins, take hold of the outer edges of your feet, the pinky toe edge, or your outer edge of your ankle or pant leg. Start to draw the knees towards the floor on the outside of your shoulders. Reach the soles of the feet to the ceiling with a bend in the knees. So we're working towards a 90-degree angle with the knees here, but you do not have to get there. The entire pelvis is driven down into the mat. Each breath in lengthens through the spine from the top of your head to your tailbone. Each breath out, gentle pressure on the outer edges of the feet or the ankles sends the knees a little bit closer to the floor beside you. So the knees should be nice and wide here to outer edges of your chest, even beyond. You can rock from side to side or you can stay in stillness. Just shifting weight from one hip to the other, keeping the pelvis in contact with the floor. Find some stillness. Release the feet. Draw the knees in towards one another. Give them a hug this time with the knees nice and narrow. Maybe a gentle rock from side to side, massaging the low back. Taking gentle circles with the knees in both directions. Find the stillness in the center. One more big squeeze. And then release the legs to the bottom of the mat, setting the feet nice and wide. Arms at your sides, palms face up for a final resting pose, Shavasana. Really surrender to the stillness. See if you can take up even an inch more space in each direction. Starfishing your body out here. Notice any last remaining areas of tension or effort. Invite them into softness. You can allow the eyes to close. Really focusing in on the breath. Doing one last final scan of your body. From the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Just noticing any subtle changes from when you first landed here on your mat. Any areas of space that have been created that maybe weren't there before. Be a sense of length in the body, a sense of openness. Returning your focus to the breath. Taking a long inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Continuing with your own breath. Following your own rhythm of count. Maybe you find you prefer counting to 5. Maybe less. Maybe you're able to lengthen the exhale just 1 or 2 more seconds than the inhale. Each breath in invites oxygen into your body. Hold on to it. Exhale as slowly as possible, emptying the lungs completely. Giving the tissues of your body as long as possible to absorb that oxygen before releasing it back into the world around you. When time feels right, you can let go of all effort of breath, allowing it to return to its natural rhythm and rate, remaining in stillness and silence for as long as you have available to you. When it is time to get up and go, do so slowly, mindfully, taking with you a sense of the openness, the spaciousness you created here on your mat today, with you into the rest of your day and your week to follow. With such gratitude for you joining me in practice. Namaste.